Hey Leo, this is Madeline here to give you a monthly report for your sign for April 2025. And we start this month with you having just had an eclipse in your ninth house in the sign of Aries, where you would have had some sort of breakthrough around your dharma, a realization of your spiritual calling, your purpose, what fulfills your soul, um, and and a new beginning in career that aligns better with your true purpose and being more clear on what that is. So making some sort of major pivot in your life around your dharma, around your purpose, realizing what that is and how to really go forward from now in a way that really fulfills you. And so then when the sun moves into the 10th house, you would have initiated on that eclipse, in the Aries eclipse, you would have initiated a new direction in your work in a way that now you find a practical way to make it useful and this idea and your dharmic calling to align in a way that actually is a financially stable career shift. So it's you're sort of grounding this new idea and turning it into a financial progressive plan, basically. So then we have Venus and Mercury, and this is sort of part of it because you had Venus and Mercury in retrograde in your eighth house, where you may have considered getting a loan out to support this new idea, or you're clearing up debt, or you're deciding to join resources with a spouse or a partnership agreement, perhaps getting a business loan, and or applying for tax rebates, or clearing a debt away in order to clearing your credit and clearing debt so that you can qualify for a business loan, or to basically pull, like I said, pull your resources together with a spouse or relationship. So you're really reflecting on whether that's the right idea and looking back on your mistakes in debt and in finances in the past. And then, and by the way, they go direct into your ninth house. Venus and Mercury go direct on the 4th. They go into Aries on the 16th. Mercury goes direct on the 7th and it goes into your Aries house on the 16th. And then that's really sort of you researching information, communication, planning some sort of either travel or new knowledge or learning more about your dharmic desire to follow a more fulfilling path. So you have to learn more about it. But again, Venus then transits into that ninth house. There could be travel, of course, always when planets travel into the ninth house. But basically, you're expanding your philosophy and your knowledge so that when Venus then moves into your ninth house in Aries on the 30th, you feel really inspired because by then the sun is going to be in your 10th house. You're going to be inspired and motivated to really take this new direction and ground it into material, financial, stable growth. Then you have Mars from your 12th house, where it has been for a long time, really digging deep in you and clearing emotional baggage and wounding and issues from your past life. And then in the 18th, Mars is going to enter in your first house where you, and also you could have been really studying and learning and traveling, of course, with Mars in the 12th, but basically taking a lot of introspective time to really heal some sort of mother woundings, ancestral wounding. And then when the sun moves in, Mars moves into your first house, it's go time. You're motivated. You're really excited about this new dharmic path where you're really in alignment with more something that's fulfilling you. And you can see a practical way of earning money that way. And then we have Jupiter in your 11th house where you're meeting people and making contacts and connections and getting out there and showing what you do in media or on a collective level, becoming more seen, or you're just learning more about social media and planning a advertising route or planning a shall we say, learning more about how to expand yourself on in the collective advertising, learning how to promote better, um, but mostly meeting new people because in Gemini, you're talking and communicating with a lot of people. And then we have, and these are people that are your tribe that are going to be supportive. And Jupiter is there until the 9th of June. So from now until the 9th of June, you're meeting new people, you're expanding your knowledge of social media and networking and advertising and self-promotion. And then we've got the Saturn in your eighth house. And that's going to meet with the North Node there in Pisces on the 14th of April, where you're really making a big decision to really make some sort of big shift in to align more with your true path. Um, so I'm sorry, Saturn is in your eighth. So the North Node and Saturn are in your eighth house, where you're really having to make, this is where you make a big decision about your finances, whether you're going to take that loan, whether you're going to pay off all this debt and sort of wipe out your cash, but then you qualify for something. So, or you're really making a big decision to join resources and get married and be very committed in a long-term relationship where you can pull your resources together, and then give yourself more of a financial boost to this new beginning, this new path that you're wanting to initiate, or the shift that you want to take your career more into a fulfilling dharmic role. And then we have Uranus in your 10th house there, working to liberate you financially, to make you more independent financially. And that moves into your 11th house in July 7th, when you're going to be again, most likely putting yourself very prominently and loudly in the social media or out in the community or meeting with supportive tribes. Then Neptune in your ninth house, you're going to have a big transformation in your spiritual beliefs by the time Neptune is out of your ninth house. And then Pluto in your seventh house, you're having a transformational experiences in your relationships, which we can go more in depth with another time. But basically, the main thing to look at for April is that you're having a realization on how to have a career and how to go forward in a way that really aligns more. You want to evolve your career with something that really evolves with a more fulfilling path. It's probably very creative that you're Leo, and then you're working out your finances involved with a joint partnership, how you're going to support some of these shifts and changes around shifting around finances, either getting a loan or partnering with other people. Now, and the North Node being in your eighth house, this is a very shifting energy where you have to make a very big decision where you're going to commit to something for 29 years. It's kind of like the energy, even perhaps of buying a house, because you're getting a 30-year loan, a mortgage, that kind of an energy. So it could be that you buy a property, which then enables you to perhaps um, pay less rent and work from your home, or it then qualifies you for, shall we say, other loans later on as a second, something like that. But basically, you're stabilizing your finances and making a big long-term commitment for 29 years to 30 years with that North Node and Saturn there. And it can be heavy, it can be hard. There may be some financial challenges that show up here that are quite alarming and serious and heavy, that make you decide to take some kind of a risk here. And by the way, if you do take a loan out, there's a really good chance you pay it off, and it does very well for you. Then we have the full moon in your third house, where you then perhaps decide to go ahead and full on make this new business, start a new business, a new media project, or you meet new people around you, neighbors, perhaps you move by buying a house or something, and then you have a whole new group of people around you, or a new media project opens up, a platform, you come out, you start your website that supports all of this vision that you've had, this shift you've had about doing something that's more fulfilling and more in alignment with your dharma and your calling. And then we have on 427, we have that new moon in Taurus in your 10th house. And that's on the 27th of April, and oh, by the way, the full moon was on the 13th. And the big conjunction is on the 14th. So that mid-April is where you're really making some big pivotal shifts around your finances, relationships, and your career, pulling them all together to co-support. And then with that new moon in your 10th house on the 27th, you're really starting this new beginning around this new idea, a new income coming in, a new beginning in a way that is going to sustain you. New moons in Taurus are very, very auspicious. So these new beginnings are very potentially very abundant, and they're aligned with your dharma, which usually means it is where your highest abundant path is in that fulfilling dharmic area. that you feel tremendous inspiration around, especially when Mars is going to be in your first house. They're on 418. You're going to be inspired to start these new beginnings. All right. I hope that is helpful to you. Namaste.